pass you over to Adam Bandt, who's the Greens candidate for Lord Mayor in the next election. He can put a stop to this.
You are all absolutely fantastic. Give yourself a huge round of applause. This is fantastic. Now, I was one of the people who, like many others, who thought that once we got rid of John Howard, we might have a less socially conservative country. But now that we've got wall-to-wall Labor governments, the first thing that we find out is that all of you standing here are violent, binge-drinking criminals who are unable to exercise any self-control. Now, I just want to see a show of hands. Who here has been out for a drink after 2 o'clock in Melbourne? And how many of you violently assaulted someone while you were out having that drink? I think, John Bromby, you might be under a bit of a misapprehension about why people are out after 2 o'clock. They're probably out because they're out seeing one of the international acts or DJs that might not come on till 1 or 2 o'clock that you can only get in a big state. They might be out because they've had a good night out and they want to move to somewhere quieter, one of the fantastic small bars and clubs that Melbourne is renowned for and that other cities around the world are trying to emulate. Or they might be out because they've just had a long night and it's time for a bit of a break or time to get something to eat. And what better after you've had a couple of drinks than going and getting something to eat? And why should you be prohibited from going back into the club after you've popped out for a bit of a break? Instead of doing any kind of nuanced, subtle analysis about what's actually going on in here, they've instead gone for the easy, knee-jerk option, which is to treat every one of you here as a potential criminal. Now, let's be clear. Let's be clear about this. This is a government by moral panic. This is a law and order knee-jerk response. There is a serious issue to do with alcoholism. It costs us over $40 billion a year, and there's between 2,000 and 4,000 deaths each year as a result of alcohol abuse. But we know that they're not serious in response to this because there's a number of things they're not doing. If they were serious, the first thing they could do is take on the big multinational companies and ban alcohol advertising. Do kids really need to see more of Shane Warne on television during the cricket telling them what a good bloke they're going to be if they have a few more tinnies? If they were really serious about it, they could enforce the existing laws. Because what's clear is that here in Melbourne, there are between 1% and 2% of places are the big nightclubs and big bars and Crown casinos that are responsible for over 25% of the sales here. If you really wanted to attack it, you would go and say to those big places, you are not allowed to ply people up with cheap alcohol and then turn them out onto the street so it's someone else's problem. But we know that Brumby is not serious about the problem because not only is he doing nothing about that, but Crown gets an exemption. Make no mistake, this isn't a law to stop people having a drink after 2 AM. This is a law to funnel people into Crown Casino to play the pokies after 2 AM. It is absolutely hypocritical to say that if you arrive in this city at 2:30, that you're allowed to go and have a beer and play the pokies, but you can't go into the supper club for a glass of wine before you go home. Absolutely hypocritical. And what you'd also know, what is also very, very clear, is that there are a number of key spots, again located around Crown casinos, where since 2002 we've had over 1,200 assaults. Now, if Brumby is really serious about tackling violence here, then there's a simple thing you can do. Shut Crown at 12 o'clock. Because this is going to do nothing for the residents who live in Melbourne, because there's still going to be people hovering around the areas where there's still violence and where they can get drunk and where they can go out and they can have fights. All of that is still going to happen. The people who are going to suffer are the fantastic small clubs and bars that Melbourne is internationally renowned for and that Sydney is changing its laws to catch up to. And if you really don't want people on the streets, then why not make the public transport run 24 hours a day so that you can get home? Now, the people who want to impose this lockout say that it works in Brisbane. Well, first of all, that's not true. There's absolutely no evidence that it works in Brisbane. And secondly, I say this with the greatest of respect, but have you been to Brisbane? I don't want to be the Lord Mayor of Brisbane, which shuts at 12 o'clock. I want to be the Lord Mayor of a vibrant, safe, thriving Melbourne that is known for its vibrant nightlife. I admire you all incredibly because I can't make it out much past 1 o'clock now. And anyone who can make their way into a venue after 2 o'clock, I doff my hat to you. But what's going on here is that you have Gen Xers and baby boomers who have had their fun, who are now in positions of power, who are shutting the door behind them and saying, well, we've gone out and drunk all night and had a good time. Well, sorry, you can't exercise self-control, so we're going to do it for you. And I say shame. Shame on the Labor Party. Now, there may be a lot of people who say that we're all just saying we want to be individuals and do whatever we want. Well, I think there is a place for collective action, and there is a place for the public and the government to get involved. And in case you haven't noticed, we're in the middle of a climate change emergency. And if John Brumby is looking for something to do, something to go and intervene in, well, why not go and build a few wind stations down in Gippsland? Why not put some solar panels on the roof? And why not build, instead of giving $8 billion to Macquarie Bank to build a huge tunnel that's going to wreck the northern suburbs of Melbourne, why not build a 24-hour world-class public transport system? If you want to get your hands on something, do that. So, don't come and demonise the people who want to have a good time as a distraction for your own failings. So I say, fantastic for all of you for coming out here, and this is only the beginning. You're going to have to keep up what you're doing, because you're not fighting just for your own right to go out and have a drink. And this isn't about people saying, we just want to go out and get drunk. This is about people standing up for a safe, vibrant, thriving Melbourne, and it's in your hands. So fantastic. A huge round of applause for the organisers who have done a superb job. Every one of you who is here today needs to go home and send another personalised email or letter to MPs. Every one of you who's here needs to go home and tell 2 of your friends who aren't standing next to you to get involved. And you need to make sure that next month, or whenever the next rally is, there's 2-3 times as many of you, so that this lockout, let's call it for what it is, this curfew is put to bed. You're doing a fantastic job.
Hi, thank you very much. I come to you straight from the court. I have spent the last 1.5 days in court fighting for my right as a licensee to let you have your right to have some fun after 2 AM. I have mixed messages of news. I have some very, very good news. We are halfway there. The Director of Licensing conceded, and about 100 of your favourite venues have an exemption, for want of a better word. So keep this up and make sure the other 600 venues get the same exemption, because we want to party and we want you to come and party with us.